have affected businesses across the country, especially here in Grove. I'm Bronte Sorotsky with how this has affected a local restaurant and what the chamber says they're doing to help out.
The clock is ticking for Democrats and their social spending package. I'm Alexandria Hoff in Washington. What the White House is saying about the negotiations coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Aubie. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation is investigating the death of a Crawford County jail inmate who officials say was assaulted by another inmate. Authorities say 20-year-old Dante Martinez of Pittsburgh was found injured in a common area of the jail. EMS provided medical aid, took Martinez to the hospital where he later passed away of his injuries. Now, jail officials determined through surveillance video that 25-year-old Gavin Wood of Arma attacked Martinez. Wood is now being charged with second-degree murder. Worker shortages are affecting businesses all over, but Grove, Oklahoma in particular has been hit hard the past few months. KAOM's Bronte Sorotsky sat down with a business owner who was forced to close one of their locations because of this. Also the Grove Chamber that's been trying to help bring more workers to the area. Bronte has more in tonight's Making It Work report.
Most all businesses here in Grove, it's been very difficult for all businesses. I think you can drive through town and there's a help wanted sign on almost every business in town.
Terry Askew owns the Honey Creek Barbecue in Grove, Oklahoma. It's one of 2 restaurants he owns, except it's the only one he can currently use.
It's called the Parrot Steakhouse and Grill, but from being closed for 45 days due to the shutdown, we've been running on a very minimal, short-staffed crew. Year and a half we've run on that short-staffed crew. It's, there's just no applications. People just aren't coming in applying.
Now, the Honey Creek's owner says he's had to combine his 2 restaurants after the Parrot had to close due to low staffing.
And of course, with this, with short staffed, if you just 1 or 2 people are out, then it just makes it impossible to operate. So we were had to be closed for a minimum of 2 weeks. We're just unable to hire any staff, and instead of running the restaurant on a partial staff, not operating, we had just temporarily closed the doors for now.
Their situation isn't unique for Grove either. Donnie Crane, president of Grove's Chamber, says he's been seeing plenty of businesses shutting their doors.
With COVID and some of the impacts from that, it's been an increasing problem here in Grove and Grand Lake, finding employees, and particularly finding those employees that our employers can depend on to be at work every day like you need to run a business.
And even after combining the 2 restaurants, Askew says he still struggles with staffing, but can keep his restaurant operational for the time being. In Grove, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
The owner of Honey Creek Barbecue says they are currently hiring for all positions. We have information on how to apply on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. A number of cities and states are finding it difficult to implement vaccine mandates as public workers push back. Fox News Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel has more now from Washington.
Police and public safety workers are now at the forefront of the growing battle over vaccine mandates. On Monday, deadlines expired for officers in a number of big cities and states to get their shots, including Chicago, where the police union is urging officers not to reveal their vaccination status. The growing opposition among law enforcement threatens to derail President Biden's push for more mandates, which he calls the best way to protect officers who deal with the public every day.
Many of those lost their lives keeping our society safe, serving on the front lines in those dark early days of the pandemic. But now, let us prevent the preventable tragedies.
Vaccine hesitancy is also being felt in the military, where more than 100,000 service members still haven't gotten their shots. And a new lawsuit was filed last week seeking to broaden the scope of religious exemptions to the mandate.
When you join the military, there are some freedoms that you give up a little bit, but you don't give up your religious freedom, right? This isn't China.
There's also growing pushback on the state level. At least 9 governors are now banning vaccine requirements, a preemptive strike against an upcoming federal mandate from the Labor Department, prompting criticism from some health officials.
I think when you're in a public health crisis, sometimes unusual situations require unusual actions.
The feds are also gearing up for a big booster push. Extra shots from Moderna and Johnson & Johnson are expected to be approved by the end of the week. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Doug Heddy joining us now. A bit windy today.
Yeah, it was. Our southerly winds have been picking up throughout the afternoon into the evening hours, and we're going to continue to see this as we go into the next couple days ahead of our next little cold front that is going to roll in on Wednesday. But good temps, kind of a chilly start, 48, 73 for a high, just a little bit above where we should be for this time of the year. But nothing's going on outside. We do have a few little clouds that are increasing out to our west. So we're going to have partly to mostly cloudy skies tonight, but we're going to end up staying on the dry side. We do have some changes down the road. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
Thank you. As people get into that Halloween spirit, the Better Business Bureau is warning consumers to be wary of Halloween scams. The Bureau offers a few tips to keep yourself safe during the spooky season. First, use a credit card rather than debit for any online purchases, as it offers more protection. Also, when shopping at a seasonal store, ask if they will be open after the holiday. Also about their return policy.
A lot of things people are purchasing online, sometimes they're not arriving. So people, unfortunately, scammers are using this as an excuse. They're using the whole shipping crisis. They're saying a lot of things that may be true, maybe not true, but they're taking advantage of the news and they're taking advantage of the situations.
The Bureau also recommends always doing your research before making a purchase and entering payment information. Business leaders from across Kansas are in Pittsburgh for the annual Chamber of Commerce Executives of Kansas Conference. The conference provides attendees with conversations that can make their organizations more effective in their home communities. It provides Pittsburgh a little exposure.
So we're finding out that regardless of the size of your chamber, if you have 10 members or 500 members, we all have the same goals and challenges and opportunities. So we learn from each other, and what works in one community may work in another. So it gives us an opportunity to talk and assess each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Topics included legislative advocacy, marketing, board governance, and much more. Another critical week for congressional Democrats trying to come up to some sort of agreement on their domestic agenda. Moderates and progressives are in deep disagreement, though, on what should be included in a multi-trillion-dollar social spending package. Party leaders would also like to see a bipartisan infrastructure bill passed by the end of this month. Fox's Alexandria Hoff reports now from Washington.
$1 trillion social spending package is still stuck in a stalemate on Capitol Hill, and now the president himself is getting involved.
The president is certainly feeling an urgency to move things forward, to get things done.
President Biden will host both progressive and moderate lawmakers at the White House on Tuesday in an effort to break the logjam. For weeks, Democrats have been unable to reach an agreement on massive legislation that aims to combat climate change, offer child care and education programs to families, and expand Medicare.
We're trying to do something enormous. This is the first time in history we're trying to do something enormous with razor-thin majorities.
But two moderate senators, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, oppose the $3.5 trillion price tag. To get them on board, lawmakers are debating whether to shorten the length of the programs in the bill to cut costs or cut down the number of programs they want to fund.
Well, I hope for Democrat gridlock. Oftentimes in Washington, D.C., gridlock is the better alternative.
From the beginning, Republicans have opposed the bill, but some are in full support of the infrastructure package that passed in the Senate in August. Progressives in the House have said that they will not support that bill until there's reassurance that the social spending package will pass.
I'm confident progressives, moderates, Democrats will unify and pass the president's agenda.
Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders has been at odds with West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin over everything from the price tag to the climate provisions. There are now reports that the two may meet to settle their differences. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Cecil Basir served in the U.S. Navy from 1943 to 1946. Native of Southwest City, Missouri, Basir was stationed in the Pacific and Atlantic. We are proud to thank and salute Cecil Basir. He's tonight's four-state hero. Doug Heddy's next with a complete look at the forecast. And later in sports, the Girard football team is undefeated. Going to hear from the team about looking to close out their season strong.
Kansas Frontenac, Kansas.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty good Monday for us today. Temperatures not bad. Most of us into lower 70s for afternoon highs, and it looks great Outside right now, nice shot. This is a nice live shot of Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Of course, looks pretty good across the region. We've had sunny skies all day long, a little breezy, but overall, it has been a pretty good start to the work week. Temperatures are really going to stay nice all week long. We do have a cold front Wednesday. We're going to get some clouds, may get a few random showers. We'll cool down briefly. Behind it, we'll start to warm back up a little bit by the weekend and have chances for scattered showers and thunderstorms. Of course, you can always go to my month-long blog. That is KOAMnewsnow.com and get my long-range forecast. I have it out about a month or so. I'm going to actually update it here in just a few minutes. Temperatures right now, we're cooling off. Most of us upper 50s on the Missouri, Arkansas side, and then closer to 60 once you get into southeastern Kansas. We're going to drop back into lower 50s later on tonight. The winds will actually keep our temperatures up just a little bit more than what we have seen the past couple nights. They're not strong. Right now they're about 5 to 10 miles per hour, but we'll have a slight breeze all night long, and then these will increase again for us during the daytime hours tomorrow. Outside right now, it looks good. Clear skies up top, 58. South winds at about 5 to 10. Humidity is at 67%. There's nothing going on the radar, even though we do have some clouds increasing in our far western counties. Just a weak little wave, doesn't have any moisture, but just a weak little wave producing some clouds that are going to rotate through as we go into the overnight hours tonight. Our next storm system, you can see this little spin out across parts of Utah, and that's a weak system, but that's the one that's going to roll through by the time we head into Wednesday. Until then, we look pretty good. All right, some clouds tonight, mainly out of here by morning. So here's about 6:30. Quick warm up through the 50s, 60s, lower 70s by noon. I think most of us will top out near 75 as we go into the afternoon. So here's your day planner, 52 if you're getting up early. The winds are going to pick up, kind of breezy all day long, 70 by noon, high temp of 75. I think mostly sunny skies, so a pretty good day. Tomorrow night, clouds increase again. Ahead of that next storm system, we'll only drop into lower 60s, and then as the front rolls through, so here's the noon hour on Wednesday, we'll have some clouds, and you can see a few spotty little tiny showers trying to get going. They get going a little bit better once they get into southwestern Missouri. We get northwesterly winds behind it, and then we cool back down into the 40s by the time we head into Wednesday night. But we don't really have any good chances for showers or thunderstorms until late Friday into Saturday as a warm front shifts through the region. And that's actually going to warm us up quite a bit as we head into the weekend. 75 tomorrow, 74 Wednesday, 70 on Thursday, 74 Friday. All week looks pretty good. Temperatures start to warm back up into lower 80s Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Is that unusual? Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
A little bit unusual getting this deep in October. I mean, we had snow the day before Halloween last year.
That's right.
Yeah.
Man. All right, Doug Katie, we'll see you in a little bit. Thank you so much. Coming up, rescuing American missionaries.
The FBI joins the hunt for more than a dozen Americans kidnapped in Haiti. I'm Phil Keating in Miami with the details coming up.
We've got mild temperatures into the week.
New report warns of the dangers of some medications used to treat asthma in children. The American Academy of Pediatrics says pediatricians need to be aware of the adverse effects of biological therapies, including the risk of anaphylaxis. The report recommends doctors and asthma patients work together better to understand the benefits and risks of each medication. An estimated 7 million children here in the U.S. suffer from asthma. The search for American missionaries kidnapped in Haiti continues. State Department says it has a team on the ground as it works to secure the group's release. Fox News correspondent Phil Keating has more.
Kidnappings are skyrocketing in Haiti, the Western Hemisphere's poorest country, climbing 300% between July and September. The latest, a high-profile kidnapping involving a group of 17 missionaries working for the Ohio-based Christian Aid Ministries. The 16 Americans and 1 Canadian were traveling home from an orphanage over the weekend when a powerful gang stopped their bus and took them at gunpoint. The gang is known as 400 Mawozo. It's not yet clear how much ransom money they're demanding, but Haitian authorities say in the past, typical amounts have reached upwards of $1 million.
There is no security. People keep shooting on people. People keep kidnapping people.
Haiti is still reeling from the assassination of its president and dire economic circumstances. Experts believe that's fueling this kidnapping crisis. As for the American missionaries, the U.S. State Department says it's in contact with senior Haitian authorities to secure their release. The FBI has also joined the search.
And the State Department is part of a small team that is now on the ground that has been dispatched to Haiti to work closely with Haitian authorities.
The president has been briefed and is receiving regular updates on what the State Department and the FBI are doing to bring these individuals home safely.
The U.S. State Department currently lists Haiti as a Level 4 Do Not Travel advisory. In Miami, Phil Keating, Fox News.
Next, the passing of a boundary-breaking general.
The nation remembers General Colin Powell, who has died from complications of COVID-19. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have more on his life and legacy straight ahead.
Nominate your 4-state homes in Neo Show.
Former Joint Chiefs Chairman and Secretary of State Colin Powell passed away from COVID-related complications at the age of 84. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively has details now from Washington.
Flags at the White House and federal buildings are now flying at half-staff to mark the passing of General Colin Powell, a man President Biden calls a patriot of unmatched honor and dignity.
Think of our Colin Powell. He's not only a dear friend and a patriot, one of our great military leaders and a man of overwhelming decency. This is the guy born son of immigrants, and he rose to the highest ranks not only in the military, but also in areas of foreign policy and statecraft.
General Colin Powell died on Monday of complications related to COVID-19. Powell was 84.
I lost a tremendous personal friend and mentor.
In his decades of military and public service, Powell had a trailblazing record of firsts. As the youngest and first black chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the first black Secretary of State. He grew to international prominence, heading up the Joint Chiefs during the U.S.-led victory in the Persian Gulf War. Another milestone came 12 years later as the world watched his speech before the United Nations pushing for the invasion of Iraq. That speech was later found to be based on faulty intelligence, and Powell would call it a blot on his record. But his former boss, President George W. Bush, released a statement Monday calling him highly respected at home and abroad.
He never stopped believing in America. And we believe in America in no small part because it helped produce someone like Colin Powell. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Powell was fully vaccinated, according to his family. He was reportedly also being treated for Parkinson's disease and multiple myeloma, a cancer of the white blood cells. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
When asked about Powell's apparent breakthrough case of COVID-19 today, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said underlying health issues can lead to complications with those who contract the disease, but she pointed out an unvaccinated person is 10 times more likely to pass away from COVID-19 compared to a fully vaccinated person. All right, next, how about this for treasure hunting in the ocean? Not that guy. You don't want to find that guy in the ocean. That, a sword made thousands of years ago. More on this when we come back.
We're here to help.
All right, check this out. A sharp-eyed diver covering a sword that's been buried in a Mediterranean seabed for decades. The Israel Antiquities Authority says the 3-foot-long blade was found in a natural cove near Israel's port city of Haifa and believes it may have belonged to a crusader who sailed to the Holy Lands nearly 1,000 years ago. I saw that. Isn't that something? How about a find? How about I am surprised that Luca, the sea monster, didn't find that before humans. Parents, at least one parent out there knows what I'm talking about. Luca. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
A new national report card says national testing scores in reading, science, and math are down across the nation. That's partly due to the pandemic. I'm Chris Warner. We'll take a look at how local districts are doing and what they're doing to ensure their students stay ahead of the curve.
Plus, authorities in Georgia begin the jury selection process in the Ahmaud Arbery murder case.
Lost River Treatment Center provides vaccine today.
The National Assessment of Educational Progress has released the latest national report card, and scores are down in some states. The NAEP monitors the academic performance of 9, 13, and 17-year-old students with long-term trend assessments. The report card has a maximum score of 500 and ranks students' proficiency in math, science, and reading. The national average was 240. Missouri's score is 238, down in reading compared to 2012, but around the same for math and science. The Kansas score is 239, also down in reading. Oklahoma's score is 237, but the state is up in science. Well, the NAEP has not yet released specific district data, but local districts have their own monitoring in place for student performance. KOM's Chris Warner spoke with the Neosho and Joplin school districts about the trends they're seeing.
Since district numbers aren't currently available from the NAEP, we asked the Joplin and Neosho school districts about state standardized testing results. Joplin saw a decrease in those test scores, which Superintendent Dr. Melinda Moss attributes to a couple of things: the abrupt end of the school year in 2020 and the chaos of the 2020-2021 school year.
Last year was frequently disrupted with isolations, quarantines. We had more students migrate to virtual education. We had hybrid schedules. We had a lot of things that, to me, really, at the end of the day, emphasize the importance of regular attendance, and it emphasizes the importance of in-person instruction.
Down the road in Neosho, Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Nathan Manley says they actually saw a bump in their test scores. Manley says keeping kids in school is one of the best ways to keep scores going in a positive direction.
It starts with their safety and well-being, them having some consistency every day, being provided the best education possible. So when we take that out of the equation, it leaves a lot up in the air, and you're just not sure what's going to happen, because we know it's important for them to be here.
Both districts have implemented changes that aren't focusing on standardized test scores as much as they're focusing on student progress.
We're checking our students' progress and we're checking their growth. And while proficiency rates are important, and that's what you see with state assessments, it's that growth target, and if a student is behind, what is their expected growth in order to catch up, and are we growing our students academically?
We certainly met and talked about what standards and objectives were most important, how we were going to look at those, how we were going to teach them. And that's been a big piece, and when students aren't able to meet that, we try to give them additional time and support to get there.
In Joplin and Neosho, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
The NAEP report also says overall scores are up across the nation since the 1970s. By the way, we've got links to that data on our website, KOMNewsNow.com. Fort Scott Community College today was hosted to the high-stakes competitive world of math. Hundreds of students from 18 area schools rolled in for the math relays at Fort Scott. Kids tested their skills in mental math, set algebra, equations, and inequalities, geometry, and more. They were given 15 minutes to complete tests in those categories.
They study for these. So each of the math teachers, they get copies of these tests, and they work with their students that really enjoy math, and they prepare for these math contests. So if they're not an athlete, they may want to just be a mathlete.
It's awesome, guys. Good job. 333 students took part in the math relays. All right, some elementary students in Neosho, Missouri got into the fall spirit today with a trip to a pumpkin patch. Benton Elementary hosted the event for its kindergarten students. It's part of a lesson the kiddos are learning about involving pumpkin characters. The events featured activities like hay bale jumping, sensory corn tubs, and ring tosses.
They get to see the animals that a lot of them have never seen before. Today my kids were really excited because they'd never seen chickens. So they got to see those. They get to have this time where it's free play and it's exploring for them, which is something that's really important because kids learn through play.
The whole pumpkin patch event took place at Benton Elementary. Southwest Airlines is asking a federal court to reject an effort by one of its unions to block its COVID-19 mandate. The airline says if a court sides with its pilots union, that would put its business, other employees, and customers at risk. Southwest is aiming for a November 24th deadline to have shots in arms, and that would help it meet the federal mandate of December 8th. The trial of 3 men accused of killing Georgia jogger Ahmaud Arbery is underway. It begins with the difficult task of seating a jury. Fox's Anna Eliopoulos has details on this selection process.
Jury selection is underway in the trial of 3 men accused of killing Georgia jogger Ahmaud Arbery. A pool of 600 potential jurors, along with a reserve of another 400 reporting for jury duty in Brunswick, Georgia. From that pool, jurors will be selected to hear the cases of father and son Greg and Travis McMichael and their neighbor William Roddy Bryan, who are charged in the deadly shooting of Arbery, which happened back in February of 2020.
We expect full justice for Ahmaud Arbery. Thank you.
All 3 men pleaded not guilty to the 9 charges they each face. Prosecutors say the McMichaels pursued Arbery while he was jogging through a residential neighborhood. Travis allegedly shooting him 3 times at close range with a shotgun. Defense attorneys say the duo thought Arbery was responsible for a string of burglaries in the area and that Travis fired the gun in self-defense after Arbery attacked him. Bryan is accused of joining the chase and recording graphic video of the slaying, but he claims he was just a witness. Potential jurors were required to fill out a 3-page questionnaire asking what they know about the case, if they posted comments about the killing on social media, and if they visited the scene of the deadly shooting.
These are just ways to get jurors to identify themselves through a yes answer, that they have some personal experience or personal opinions about these things.
Attorneys on both sides will be questioning the massive pool over the coming days in an effort to seat 12 jurors plus 4 alternates. Lawyers say they expect it to be 1 to 2 weeks before a jury is seated. Anna Eliopoulos, Fox News.
A bit later, where's the beef and the rest of the food?
Grocery store shelves across the country look a lot like this, empty. I'm Grady Trimble with Fox Business in Chicago. Coming up, why it's happening and how long it might last. That's next.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice day for us today after a great weekend and then a great start to the week. In fact, temperatures really look pretty good most of the week. Here's a great shot. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, temps. Mainly 70s all week long, which is perfect for this time of the year. We are going to get a cold front on Wednesday. This will give us a few random showers and drop our temperatures just a hair. We do have chances for thunderstorms increasing as we head into the weekend, especially early next week. Maybe a severe threat, I would say like Tuesday afternoon, so still 8 days away. You can always get my long range forecast on my month-long blog, KOAMnewsnow.com. All right, it's kind of crisp, kind of cool out there. Most of us upper 50s to near 60 degrees. I think we'll drop back lower 50s later on tonight. It was kind of windy today. Those southerly winds helped our temperatures warm up. The winds have diminished a little bit once the sun went down, but they will pick back up again tomorrow. Kind of breezy once again for us on Tuesday, but it looks good right now. Clear skies, a few clouds increasing out to our west. South winds 5 to 10. Relative humidity is at 67%, but there's nothing really going on here. We look fine, we're dry. You can see a few clouds sneaking in, a few more clouds out across central Kansas down through western parts of Oklahoma. Not enough moisture in these clouds to give us any rain, but we'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies tonight and they'll be gone by morning. Here's our next storm system. You see the spin right here, right around Salt Lake City. It's a weak system. The main jet stream's way up here, so it doesn't have a lot of cold air in it, but it does have a cold front that will drag through by the time we head into Wednesday afternoon. So let's step through time. Let's look through the week. For us tonight, here in a couple hours, clouds increase. Most of these clouds by morning are gone. Quick warm up, near 70 by noon. As we go into the afternoon, I think most of us about 75, so 2 or 3 degrees warmer than what we saw today. 52 to start, 70 by noon, high temp at 75. Those south winds still 10 to 20, maybe gusts a little bit higher than that. Tomorrow night, clouds will increase again, especially after midnight. We'll drop back into lower 60s for overnight lows. And then by Wednesday, here's the new narrative. Here comes our cold front. You see you got northwest winds here, southwest winds here. So our front's driving in. Some spotty little showers will develop as it passes by. Most of us will probably stay dry, so it's not a big deal, but our temperatures will cool down just a bit behind it as we go into Wednesday night and Thursday. Thursday looks good. Friday looks good. A warm front lifts back through late Friday into Saturday. That's going to give us chances for showers and thunderstorms again, but our temperatures also will return into the 80s. But this week, fantastic. 70s all week long. Those showers on Wednesday, 80 by Saturday, 82 Sunday, 83 Monday, and then a strong cold front next Tuesday. So by about next Wednesday, that's when we get back to the kind of crisp fall-like temps.
Last weekend, man, was gorgeous.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah, it felt like fall. All right, Doug Hetty, thank you so much as always. Hey, scientists say the volcano on the Spanish island of La Palma looking more like a tsunami as it unleashes more lava. Nearly a month after it first blew, the volcano is still setting off dozens of minor tremors each day, shooting plumes of ash several miles high, blanketing the area and disrupting flights. So far, that right there, the scorching rivers, has swallowed up nearly 2,000 buildings, including hundreds of homes. All right, coming up in sports, going to hear from the undefeated Girard football team. Also, College Heights hosting Diamond for their final match before districts.
NASA launches a space mission towards College Heights volleyball has earned the #1 seed for the Class 1 District 9 tournament. The Cougars have a bye and will play in the semifinals on Saturday, but first they have one remaining game on their schedule. College Heights hosting Diamond today. Diamond also a #1 seed in the Class 2 District 11 tournament. Wildcats take the first set. In the second, Gabby Dooley goes across the court. Diamond goes on to win the second too. Later, Lauren Turner places this one in the perfect spot. College Heights needs the third set to stay alive. Addie Lawrence with the big kill. She gets a few from that spot. Cougars win 25-23 and the next one 25-22. That forces a fifth, but it's Diamond that prevails, coming up with the block there. A 5-set battle. Diamond comes out on top 3-2. Girard is on a roll this season. They're undefeated with one game left to play. It's an exciting time for the Trojans. They're averaging 39 points per game on offense and giving up just 10 points per game on defense. That type of production has earned Girard a 7-0 overall record, their best under head coach Neil Philpott. And coach says he's most impressed with his team's ability to stay locked in.
They haven't gotten too high, too low. They're playing with a lot of confidence, but they're also playing with some humility too, and so that's kind of a characteristic of a good team that wants to stay hungry, but is also confident in what they're doing. I still don't think we've played our best game yet, and we're still striving for that. But that's why we come out to practice and try to keep getting better.
Girard will square off against Frontenac in the regular season finale this Friday. Both teams are 4-0 in the district. The Kansas City Chiefs added one to the win column on Sunday, defeating Washington 31-13. That got them back to 500. It was a rocky start for the Chiefs. They turned the ball over 3 times in the first half. Their season total at 14. That's the worst in the league. But the Chiefs adjusted at half. They found the end zone 3 times to take the lead, and the defense held Washington to just 76 yards and 0 points.
We had another bad first half, and it could have spiraled right there. I mean, it could have, how this season's gone, the adversity we dealt with, it could have spiraled. But I thought the guys, it was a lot of mental toughness to go back and to battle and to go out there and believe in each other. And the defense, the way they played today, I mean, that offense has been putting up points. I mean, they have some playmakers over there, and for them to hold firm while we were struggling, I mean, that's what it takes in this league. It takes everybody. It's not the offense, not the defense. It's everybody together, coming together at the right time to be great, and that's what we want to be.
Back with more news after this.
The supply chain crisis hitting shoppers. Fox Business Network's Grady Trimble is at a grocery store in Chicago to see what's actually left on those shelves.
You might have noticed it yourself. Grocery store shelves all over the country look a lot like this in some cases, totally empty because of the ongoing supply chain problems. And it's not just the bread aisle by any means. It's across product categories, from milk and eggs to juices to snack foods. Just about everything you can think of is roiled by this supply chain strain that's been going on for some time now. Barb Eastman knows it better than anybody. So what are the distributors telling you in terms of how long this is going to happen?
It's going to go until 2022.
2022, which means we could see bare shelves for the time being. What are companies who make the food doing to try to offset these problems?
The companies are actually downsizing some of the products, the product line. So you're finding like 4 flavors of Ruffles instead of the 10, and they're downsizing their sizes.
They're focusing on the top sellers, in other words.
Right.
And it's not just the food production that's part of the problem, it's the entire supply chain, including the raw materials like the products that go into the bags and the boxes.
The aluminum, the plastics, or the plastic tops for bottled water. That's what's the problem.
It's a mess, and so you're not only paying higher prices at the grocery store now, you're running into situations like this where you might not even be able to find what you're looking for. In Chicago, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
All right, this needs to end quick, because Lord knows I need all my flavors of Ruffles. Next, the entertainment coming your way this week on Fox 14. Special guests, family drama, competitions heating up. It's all coming up this week right here on Fox TV. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with a preview.
It's an early Halloween on several Fox series. Here's what's hot on Fox.
Dispatch 118 on scene.
Monday starts with the emergency responder drama 911 and the 118 racing to several intense scenes as per usual.
Ooh, I'm shaking.
Then it's the big leap where rehearsals are on and blasts from the past bring up lots of feelings, including Gabby and producers at a crossroads on how to move forward.
I know we're all excited for Halloween.
Tuesday, it's Halloween time on The Resident with Conrad joining the Chastain Hospital team for eerie ER experiences.
I'm done playing nice.
Then drama heats up on Our Kind of People with many family meetings, including Angela and Teddy. Wednesday, The Masked Singer also gets in the Halloween mood with the trick or treat of a new wild card and guest judge Leslie Jordan.
I want to know more.
Then on Alter Ego, it's Seven versus Siren and Aster versus Queen Dynamite with more head-to-head competition.
Down he goes.
Squaring off on the field on Thursday Night Football presented by Bud Light Platinum are the Cleveland Browns and Denver Broncos. WWE Friday Night SmackDown rounds out the week.
Here we go.
Sunday starts with a replay of a Simpsons Treehouse of Horror and then an all-new animation domination. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of lemurs getting into the Halloween spirit over at the Oregon Zoo. Hey guys. Hey, be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.